Hey, welcome back. I'm still Fabian, a former automotive strategy consultant turned digital product manager. And today in the third video of our series on digital product management, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into understanding user needs, which is arguably critical to developing meaningful products and developing them in the right way that aligns with our target user group. Especially in the corporate world, we see far too often the development of digital products that are too focused on technical feasibility and the realm of the possibility, as opposed to the specifics in terms of this is the problem we're trying to solve and this is how a user would like to engage with it. For the session today, I'm going to delve into four main areas. First of all, I will be talking about a user persona development, what this is, why it's important. I will be talking about user journey mapping. Thirdly, I'll be covering user research techniques. And finally, I'm going to delve into feedback collection and analysis. In terms of the first topic, user persona development, so a user persona is really a fictional representation of a target user based on research and data. If you think about, for example, let's take Spotify as one, they will have thought about very specific types of users and user groups that they believe want to use certain areas of their digital product, which is a streaming platform application, and develop specific features, focus on those. So for your product, whether it's a end consumer product or a corporate type of digital product, I would encourage you to really describe, and you can really write this down as some clear bullet points of these are some of the characteristics of our user persona that we develop the product for. This will really allow us to align any product decisions with user needs and preferences. So whenever we think about implementing a new feature or similar, we can ask ourselves, is this what our fictional user persona that is reflecting real user needs would want at this point in time? The process of developing user personas includes, or can include, there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach, but can include various aspects, including user interviews, surveys, and other type of market research. When you're in a corporate world, I would highly encourage you to just have some conversations with your stakeholders, and then on the back of this, maybe in the form of a workshop or other type of qualitative research forum, just bring together the perspectives to really tease out what your user persona could be characterized by. One example from my experience would be especially in the supply chain analytics space in the automotive industry. So here we really struggled initially to distill some of the key requirements. We created a backlog from a workshop of over 100 individual user stories for supply chain analytics products that we could build. And by clearly describing some of the user personas that would engage with it and then prioritizing the requirements based on our user persona description, this really helped us to land on a very distinct set of clear requirements that we want to target that we could then shape into digital products to help us prioritize our development. Category 2 I'm going to cover includes user journey mapping. So user journey mapping is a very powerful tool that helps us to visualize the steps users take to achieve a specific goal within our digital product. So it's usually, whether it's on a whiteboard or in a virtual type of whiteboard or other type of mapping tool, can even be in traditionally PowerPoint. that really describes sequentially what our users would do and why they do it. And then we would use this as a baseline to create a journey that is seamless yet purpose-driven for our target users. One of the key benefits of creating user journeys include that we can use this to, first of all, clearly understand user behaviors, understand user pain points and opportunities for improvement. By having this very process-driven way that makes it very clear to understand the end-to-end flow and then highlight any challenges users might face across the process. And then, given that it's a very visual representation in workshops type of forums, we can really use this to pinpoint specific problems and then discuss the sequence of, first of all, the importance, but then the sequence in which we want to tackle those problems. How to create a journey map? There isn't a clear standardized way to do it, but generally it involves identifying touch points, emotions, pain points through the user journey. And then once we've collected all of this data, we usually create a first draft of this end-to-end map and then play this back to our users for feedback. From my personal experience, one instance where this user journey map was really critical was when I analyzed the go-to-market process of one of the big incumbent automotive manufacturers. And first of all, I was shocked that there wasn't a clear mapping of this process. Because it's so critical, especially having worked with lots of German automotive original equipment manufacturers, they have process maps for everything. And here it was really evident that we couldn't clearly articulate what we do, how long it takes, how much it costs, why there's so many errors, where these errors are. So by conducting lots of interviews and workshops, we really put together this clear map that was the foundation to developing a transformation program to improve this process, both in terms of short-term identification and resolution of pain points, and then also the long-term transformation. A visual representation of a process like this really allows us to have a very structured approach that is this kind of uses the systems thinking approach of this is how all of these elements come together over time, and also kind of linking this to our digital product toolkit, which is really, really powerful to develop a digital product roadmap to improve some of these processes. Thirdly, user research techniques, highly dependent on our context and what we aim to achieve. There are various qualitative and quantitative tools to gather user feedback. These include surveys, typical quantitative elements, so quantitative user data on preferences, behaviors, demographics, etc. We can conduct qualitative interviews, one-on-one or group interviews, to understand user motivations, goals, and pain points. We can, and this transitions more into kind of specifically the digital product space, can usability tests, so we can observe users interacting with prototypes or existing products to identify usability issues. And finally, we can use our digital analytics, so analyzing user behavior to uncover pain points, to uncover patterns, trends, and areas of improvement. And while there isn't a kind of magic formula in terms of this is the combination of tools that always makes sense, we really want to have a very kind of clear and structured approach to specific types of questions. For example, more explorative types of questions. For example, what types of problems do users face? Generally require a type of qualitative research approach, whereas the investigation of specific variables, for example, which input specifically out of these very set or clear set of inputs has the most significant impact on a specific output, for example, time delays or similar, where we would use very specific quantitative tools to very specifically articulate which one specifically of these factors influences, for example, a given output the most. Finally, delving into the feedback collection and analysis, it is really critical throughout a digital product development process to gather user feedback really across the entire life cycle. Some people think, okay, you gather feedback once and you develop something and then launch and that's it. But it's really critical to do this continuously, especially as we work in agile ways of working. There are various ways to collect feedback, such as feedback forms, in-app user surveys if it's a end customer product, or for example also social media monitoring to sense the recognition of certain changes that our product or how our changes are perceived across the market. User feedback can be effectively analyzed through various ways, such as categorizing feedback, prioritizing actionable insights, and the identification of trends. There isn't really a kind of one-size-fits-all approach, and we have to be really careful that our type of analysis is very much focused on what we aim to achieve. There usually isn't a lack of data necessarily. This was one of the kind of statements in the German Mittelstand, the kind of SMEs that had loads of data available and couldn't really make sense of it. So here we really need to have a very kind of focused approach in terms of this is how we intend to use a certain analysis for improvements and iterations. So just to recap, what have we covered in this video? We have emphasized the significance of understanding user needs in digital product management for creating user-centric products. And I would highly encourage you to integrate user research techniques, persona development, and user journey mapping into your product development practices to achieve product success. I hope you found this video useful, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you again in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.